Yo, 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 it's M.I.A.
Hey,
Radio. We're back. We're in the
we are
studio.
back.
Well, I'm in the studio. Kaz
I'm
is
uh
in the
I'm in a
screen.
spiritual retreat,
A sabbatical. But
sabbatical,
it's like
quarantine retreat.
the third time we use that word. But we got a special guest in the building helping me out today.
Yeah.
Part of the team,
Part of the Rockwell fam. DJ
one and
Raphy
only.
Pryor in the
Yeah.
building. Give it up.
Yes.
Yo.
What up?
It was good, brother.
Bro, it's crazy. I've been in this office studio since February when all that shit like shut down, right before right before spring break.
It's completely
Yeah.
different now.
So different. But I like it though.
For sure. And
Yeah, that's a different environment completely.
Nah, definitely.
You feel like you're like in a real
podcast
studio, like a real filming studio. Like,
No, you definitely do.
And
like they film different shit.
It's funny because we were talking before we started that he has his own podcast with Mr. Gray.
Yeah,
Right.
Take a break.
And he was
taking a break,
and
Bro.
he was telling me how they're taking
Yo,
a break,
literally taking a break right now, bro.
And he was telling me how he was really eager to get on and kind of just let shit out, talk
Right.
about everything that's going on, and he reached out to us. So I mean, I really appreciate you reaching out and wanting to come on and talk, because I know we've been wanting to have someone on that could speak on the situation and just especially in the nightlife in our business, but we weren't sure who to reach out or what was the right way. So
we didn't want to come off as anything opportunist, you could say, or we didn't want to be.
Yeah, so we definitely appreciate
reach out
you.
to anybody who.
No, for sure.
I mean, obviously they wouldn't take it in a bad way, but I mean, just brand wise for us too. But you reached out to us, and
yeah, for sure. No,
we've been wanting to have you on even from before. So now it's even more of a.
It's like it's
a reason.
Good opportunity, because I know when I heard I was listening to Brian's, and then it was just a really good podcast, and but like the only thing was I was like a little more insight, from like I actually like live like this is like my reality. I mean, it's your reality too. You guys are minorities as well, but you know what I mean.
But 100%, because even after I listened back to that podcast and I was watching, I was like, damn, it's three white dudes though. We're talking all this shit, but like we haven't lived it. We've seen it. We've been next to it,
been around it,
but we haven't really experienced it. So, and I know you've been tweeting like last week, you've gone through some shit. So we can start with that. Like, I know you had something that happened.
I don't even know. I've been on this fucking sabbatical with zero.
Yeah, he actually
had to come to the cabin. To get Wi-Fi.
I'll let him talk about it. Yeah. But he actually literally after all this experienced something like literally a couple of days ago.
Some bullshit.
Oh shit.
So we can start off with that.
Yeah. How do we start that? Yeah. So it was Friday night. Yeah, Friday night. I think it was. Yeah, Friday night. Last Friday night, and this is like all this shit's going on and stuff like that, and it was crazy because that earlier that week, one of my buddies hit me up, white dude hit me up, because he was like, "Yo, I want to learn, I want to like get information about the shit, like, get it from your perspective, like what's going on. Like I don't understand. Kid grew up in Delray his whole life, like he has no idea really. You know what I mean? So then we go hang out again on Friday, and it's me, him, and my other boy who's Puerto Rican. We're sitting there kicking it, and then my one boy, he like goes off and like deals with like issues with his wife, or like they're like fighting or whatever. And then some dude comes up, asks us for a cigarette, and my boy's like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't have one." And I'm like, "Nah, I'm good," because I quit. So I'm like, "Yo, I'm good. I don't have anything." And then no bullshit, homie was like, "Yo, Black lives don't matter," and I was like, what? Like it threw me for a fucking loop like that. He was like ballsy enough to like say that.
But he just asked you for a cigarette. You said no. And that was his
response.
Yeah,
like it was like he could tell he was drunk, but like that's still that's no fucking excuse. You know what I mean? And
wow,
he said it to me and my boy. My boy's like, "What'd you say?" And then he said it again. And then he looked at me and he was like, "Oh, fuck Black Lives Matter."
Oh my god.
And when like I say like I was enraged, like I'm getting shaky right now thinking about it. You know what I mean? Like when
and you were just explaining to your boy like
exactly like all the shit that I experienced. You know what I mean? Like my one boy, if you ask him today, he's like, "Yo, it felt like out of a fucking movie that like this dude just like said that shit." And we're in Meisner Park in Boca, It's like
yeah,
semi busy, you know what I mean? But there's so many people around us. My boy's like, I'm about to kill this kid. I had to be like, yo, no, chill, because look, we're literally the only two minorities out here.
yeah.
So we fucked this dude up. Like, how do you think that's going to turn? How do you think the cops are going to look at that? And I'm not saying
story.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying we're going to get like beat and killed by the cops, because not all cops are bad. But at the same time, we're in Meisner. No one else really heard him.
It doesn't come across as, you know, like the numbers wouldn't add up to, you know.
It's like, oh shit, aggressive black guy fucking beats up this kid whose fucking dad's probably a lawyer. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like.
And you think he just said that like
on some straight ignorant, like drunk shit, but like it still shouldn't have been like okay. It's still not okay to say.
Oh, of course not. Like, ever. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's just not a like.
How does that come to your mind?
It's not something to joke about. I mean, even a year, 2 years down the line, you're not gonna say that shit. Like,
so what was his reaction?
I was just telling him, I was like, yo, just walk away. I was like, I had to be like, yo, just walk away. And he kept trying to talk. I guess like maybe something clicked and he tried to explain himself.
He tried to explain what he's.
I guess he wanted to, because I was just like, yo, shut the fuck up and just keep walking. Please, just keep walking. Because like I don't know if I could like help my composure any longer. I was like, yo, just keep walking. And he eventually like walked away, and then I had to calm my boy down and be like, yo, let's fucking get him. I'm like, yo, we can't, because these cops come.
Problem. Yeah.
That shit's a Meisner. Like, we ain't from here. We've been drinking. You know what I mean? Like,
it's just a whole nother
we
set
go
of
to
problems.
our car. Like, it's so many more things can happen. Phones are going to come out, and where the phone's going to look like, oh shit, this Black Lives Matter guy is fucking up this one white guy, and then you know how the headlines are going to put it. You know, like it could have spiraled out so out of control.
Yeah, I mean, luckily you were aware enough to assess the situation.
You know what I mean?
Like, not let it escalate
that quickly. And those are just like situations in life where I've had to like assess the situation, being like, oh shit, this could really be bad for me. Let me get the fuck out of here. Or
you're the bigger person, and which, you know, pays off in the end. But it's you know, this is an ongoing issue forever, and it's for crazy. Somebody to joke around it and just be like, oh, you don't want to give me a cigarette? Well, fuck you. You know, like, no, bro. Like
that shit's
not it doesn't translate. Like, it didn't translate like a fuck you. Like, yo,
like if you like, we don't have a cigarette, just walk away. Be like, all right, cool.
And you think he was just being ignorant, or he like that's the thing? There's people that
I think he's more or less ignorant. I don't want to say he's racist, because like I really tippy-toe with that line, because like I don't want to call everyone a racist just because they say something ignorant.
That's one of the things I wanted to ask you, because like, you know, I've been talking a lot to people and just with different views, different opinions, and the one thing I kind of notice is that some people might be against the BLM movement, but not because of what it stands for, not because they're racist or they're like they don't see the big picture. It's just like they don't believe that the BLM movement is gonna achieve anything, or that there's other, you know, agendas behind it, or like they just don't like necessarily what they're trying to achieve. It's like a weird, like, no, like I'm for Black Lives, but I just don't I don't fuck with that. So
the way that I see it, like that kind of mentality is a very selfish mentality, because it's like, it's selfish, but it's not. It's funny because it's they're trying to be they say like their perspective is that saying Black Lives Matter is a selfish thing to say for Black people. Like, this is one angle that I've analyzed from kind of what you're saying. Like, people that don't believe in Black Lives Matter are saying it because they're trying to say that it's a selfish movement, when everybody should be given that kind of treatment. But it's like, the whole point of the movement is to know that, yo, like, Black Lives Matter, like, they do matter. It's not that they matter more, it's that they do matter.
Yeah,
like,
we matter.
Realize
too.
that there's they've been oppressed all their lives, and, you know, like, Black people have it so much harder. That's the point of it. But then some people are like, no, like, they don't see the oppression, or like maybe the way they grew up, maybe they're just hard-headed, maybe they're just, you know, like, I call it like subliminally racist, and they just don't understand it, you know. But it's not always like that direct racism, but it's gotten to the point where you don't even, if you don't understand what's going on, you come off as racist or you are in the racist pool, you know, like you get pushed onto that side because it's like what we're trying to say here is, you know, that Black lives are important.
Yeah, they matter as well. Like, I mean, look, everyone matters, obviously. Like, we're not saying just us, but like,
exactly.
Like we matter too, because I mean, look, you can throw out all those little bullshit statistics, being like, oh, how many cops have killed more white people than black people this year, and all that stuff like that. We are also 60% more of the population than we are, so like those numbers shouldn't be that close at all. You know what I mean? Right. And you're gonna see, and this is what I try to tell people. I'm like, look, you just literally just take a look at my shoes since growing up. These are little things that I have to worry about when I get in my car or if I'm driving. Like, even if I'm following the rule, like I was driving like 85 the other day, and like this is right after George Floyd happened. Like, I'm doing 85 on the highway. I like slowed down and like I was like, oh shit, let me do like 65, because like these are like things I have to be like, oh shit, let me slow down to 65. Where's my license at? Do I have? Where's my
already processing?
I mean, I have to process before like you even know cops even near me. Like, I have to process all this stuff. Like, I shouldn't have to go through thinking these type of things, but like I do, and it's not just because of what I'm seeing on TV now. This is because of growing up, the bullshit that I've had to deal with growing up, like being stopped by cops for no reason, being stopped by cops, and like suburban neighborhoods for like just because I'm look different and I'm not from that neighborhood and I'm walking.
And it sucks because it's kind of like it becomes a part of your life where it shouldn't be.
It really shouldn't be, but it's like it's just something that I always have to be aware of. And look, you know, I have a lot of white friends. I have I like a lot of friends of all different races, and like we can always make that joke. Oh shit, we got a black guy with us. Like, that joke has been made multiple times. You know what I mean? To the point where it's got numb, and to the point where like now, it's like I'm getting older. I'm like, yo, that joke's getting old now. Like this shit is like really my reality when you really think about it.
And it's the same thing. Like we were talking about it a couple of weeks ago, where like in the Latin culture, like that's like a joke of like, you know, oh, el negro ese, or like, but you know, they're not racist, but it's like those little jokes that it becomes normalized, and then you're like thinking twice about bringing a black friend to your house because you don't want your parents to be like, you know, asking questions, or it shouldn't be like that. You know, I'm thankful that my family was always open to any, like they didn't care. I just was raised like, yeah, his skin's different, but he's a human, so it doesn't matter. Right. But I know I've witnessed parents that, you know, they make those comments or they say something like, oh, I don't want you hanging around this and this. Like, oh, not because he's a bad person, but you know, and it's like, but why is there a but?
Yeah.
Yeah. That but is kind of like the stamp of truth, you know, like, haha, it's like that backhanded compliment, like it's a joke, but when they say that, you're kind of like,
this shit's really not that funny.
Wait, is that for real? Like,
yeah.
And that's the thing, like we see it and like we're exposed to it, but there's a difference when you're walking in the shoes and you're like experiencing it firsthand. So I mean, that just happened to you this weekend, but like, you know, and especially in nightlife, like, yo, that shit is like,
bro, that shit happened to me. So I've been in Florida. I'm in like 9 years now, maybe. Yeah, 9. Maybe going.
You're from
10.
Philly, right?
Coming from Philly, and before I lived in Philly, I lived in Denver, and then I moved down here. And as soon as I moved down here is when like my DJ career started to like really pop off. You know what I mean? It like, kind of took it more and more serious as I moved down here. And then I got a gig up in West Palm. And I lie to you not, it was a party that, you know, me and actually first time I met Mr. Gray, we started this party. Well, we didn't start this party. Me, him, and a promoter started this party. Promoter was dating my roommate at the time or whatever. It was a little Monday night party. I'm not gonna name the venue, but like literally, the party was popping the first couple of weeks and then started to fizzle out. It's a Monday night party. That's just gonna happen. I mean, there's no real promotion. There's no real pushing it, nothing like that. And then the promoter said to me, he was like, "Well, you're not bringing enough people in," and like I was like, "Well, I just moved here. Like, who the fuck do you expect me to bring in? Like, I brought the people who I know, but like I literally just moved here. Like, I'm still like no one really knows me like that." And then he was like, "It's fine. We don't really hire niggas like that up here anyway." And I like it just was like,
wait, hard ER?
Yeah, hard ER. hard ER.
Wow.
And this is a white guy,
white dude
from
in West Palm, white dude in West Palm, and then he was like really hard niggers like that anyway, and like it was like in a malicious type way because we were like going back and forth because I was like, well, you're the promoter, like you bring people in, and then he said that, and I was like, my face was just like dropped. Like he wasn't in front of me, because if he was in front of me, this is 10 years ago me, so I probably would have fucked him up right then and there. You know what I mean? So, but like it was just like through text, and I was like, is this dude serious right now? Like, did he really just?
Damn, you got the receipts.
Just drop that on me, and like,
wow.
And you know, like everyone was like livid. You know, like my other roommate, he was livid. You know, his girl, she was like, yo, that's so messed up. Da, da, da. I'm like, yeah. I'm not saying break up with the dude, but like you got to reevaluate who you roll with.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? Like,
exactly.
And this is like my first experience in West Palm. So then I literally looked at West Palm like, yo, fuck this city. Like, I have no intentions of playing here ever again. Like, this is how they rock. And I'm glad I didn't keep that mentality about them, because there's a lot of good people up there. But like, I was literally like, yo, you fucking kidding me? And that was the first time I experienced it in nightlife. And I was just like, all right, well, this shit is going to be everywhere. Like, this is like, I can't get away from it. It's going to be everywhere.
That's like the thing when people say like they're like, oh, it's not systematic. Like, yeah, that was years ago, but it's like that mentality of like now a lot of black people, like they have those experiences constantly. So then they get that trigger of like, yo, this is how everyone's going to treat me, or like, this is what I should be expecting. So like, I got to be on guard. And it's like that. It's like already an automatic tension between people, especially when you get cops involved and all that stuff. But like, that's crazy. Like, you already were like, yo, like, fuck West Palm.
You know what I mean? Like off rip, I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? So, I am not working with that dude again. Obviously.
What happened to him?
He still works in nightlife, because I've seen him maybe over the past like 10 years, like 3-4 times, and like that shit triggers as soon as like I like see him.
Facts.
You know, but I'm like, yo, be an adult. Like, don't even, like, we're here for a reason. Like, I'm out chilling. Like, I'm not even trying to get involved in all that shit. But he doesn't look my way. Like, nothing like that.
The shit that also heats me up is that he's a promoter. So he's talking to you like he is like the boss to hire you. And
like now he's like a manager spot. So like, you know what I mean? Like, I could pull out receipts and like try to find this and like put him on blast and like, but I'm not
Canceled.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna go through the effort of doing that.
Right.
Like, you know, just whatever, let him do what he do. Because in West Palm, when all this shit went down, I'm seeing some promoters who were up there, some DJs from up there, saying some of the most ignorant shit on social media. And I know when because when Brian hit me up and he was like, yo, let's start talking about, you know, going back to work. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not working here. I'm not working here. I'm not working with this person. Like,
because of what happened.
Because they're what they're saying, and like they're not understanding, or they're not wanting to understand. Like, my whole big thing is, this isn't a political thing. To me, it's not a political thing. Like, this shit has been happening my whole life. So when I'm 6 years old, I didn't give a fuck who was running for president. Like, this shit is, you know what I mean? These are things I've been taught. So like, this is not a political thing. This has nothing to do with like left or right or any of that bullshit. Like, this is like a human issue. Like, if you're not getting it, then like find me, DM me, and I'll help explain it to you, and I'll help you, give you life experiences. Like, this shit is, it's real life, and it can't be taken lightly. Like, you can not want to talk about it, and I understand not everyone's going to want to talk about it. Not everyone's going to want to post on social media about it. Not everyone's going to want to, you know, share articles and shit like that. But don't let me see you getting an uproar about fucking syrup, but you're not getting an uproar about people who got hung like last week. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, don't sit here and like fucking have like 70 comment threads about fucking Aunt Jemima syrup, but then like you literally have zero to say about Breonna Taylor getting fucking shot in her own home.
And I think it's easy for people to kind of not get involved when it's like they don't feel the effect, or they don't understand it, so they're just like, I mean, yeah, it's a big deal, but you know, what can I do?
Yeah.
And I know there's also people that, like, you know, how you were saying, like, it's not a political issue, it's not a left or right, but then there's people that they can't differentiate, you know, what the issue is of, like, yo, just watch this 8-minute 46-second video, and you'll understand that it's not a Trump thing, it's not a Republican thing, it's not a Democratic thing.
It's to me, the way that I've analyzed from all this, it's kind of like the ignorance thing, because first of all, on Facebook I don't post anything even remotely wanting to determine any kind of alienation, like being aligned to any kind of party, because it's Facebook. On Twitter I'm very open, and I've said it, and on Facebook, and on IG I'm kind of vague, but at the same time, like, my political views are out there. But through all this, it's the first thing that I said, this is not a political thing. But this is where it sucks, that a lot of Trump supporters are racist, and he fuels racism. Like, he fuels racism. So it's not like when people say, oh, he's not racist. Okay, if he's not racist, he's still giving people the platform to he's giving everybody everything but the target. He's giving them the gun, the bullet, and the training, and pushing everything. So it's taught in their head that because now we're able to speak more freely, I guess we can be openly racial about it. So, but it's not. I'm not saying all cops are Republicans or this or that, or I've gotten attacked like, oh, you leftist, whatever, and I'm like, look, where did I say this? This is ignorance past the presidency. This is ignorance that has been brought up through the years, and like, he definitely sparked up. He gave them the weapons to be so, I guess, aggressive about it. But to address this as a political thing is the most ignorant response you can have, because that means that you've done zero work, like zero research, or zero, just you're just so unaware. Like,
it's true. No, that's what you're saying, because it's when you say, it's funny you're about like the Trump thing. I don't know if you guys saw, but I think it was last week. It was in Jersey. It was like a small little protest happening like in a neighborhood, and it was this guy like in front of his yard, and had his knee down on his friend's neck. Like, mimicking,
I saw that.
You saw that, right? Like mimicking the George Floyd thing.
George Floyd,
and like in the background, it's like
all
Trump's flag. Like, so like that's if you're Trump, right? And this is where, and look, I don't know if the dude's racist. Does he have racist tendencies? Probably yes. But like, I'm not going to sit here, because I don't know him personally, so I'm not going to sit here and like get into the whole political thing and like all that shit. But if you see your name in the background of someone doing such a disgusting act, and you have said nothing about it, and it's on the news, so I know you watch news, I know you get these clips, and you said nothing about it, then you're just as bad as the problem, because you're literally at the highest point, and you could nip that shit in the bud right then and there, but he doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of people want to just attach Trump to everything racist that's bad and this and that, but it's not that so much that he's like a full on racist. It's just that he's just adding fuel to the fire. He doesn't
diffuse the situation when he can obviously diffuse the situation. And it's the same thing on the local level. Like, if you're on social media and like you see someone post some nut ass shit, and like you're friends with them, and like you don't address them or like nip it in the bud, then you're just as part of the problem. Or if you're out, like if I'm, that's the first instance, the night that I was out and that guy said that, if his friend disagreed with him but didn't say anything, then he's just as bad as he is. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, hold accountability. That, like, me personally, that's all I'm really asking. And that's what I told my boy when I told him, I was teaching him. I was like, look, if you see something fucked up and I don't see it and I'm not there to defend myself, but they're particularly talking about me or people of my color, then nip that shit in the bud right then and there, because that's only going to help the situation. That's only going to help maybe spark something in that dude's head. Oh shit, if my boy thinks it's wrong, then it might be wrong. And then it goes full circle, because if you look at like the Candace Owens video or whatever, like people who probably wanted to say bad about the George Floyd thing and like, oh fuck this, blue lives and all that stuff like that, you have this black woman, very articulate, go on Facebook, and she knows who she's pandering to when she goes on live. Like, she knows exactly who she's pandering to, and they're going to eat that shit up, and they're going to be like this. oh shit, well,
she's black.
My homie black girl Candace, she said it's cool. So
I had someone send me that video.
So then it probably is. It probably is okay if she said it's okay. No, she's literally playing the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Like, she could probably run for president. She could probably win because she's going to play the shit out of you because you guys are so gullible to eat that shit up. And that's why I had to explain that to someone one day. She's like, well, she makes up some very good points. I'm like, yo, she's spitting facts, but she's probably never even been to like an inner city neighborhood in her life.
That's the thing, and I've had people send me videos of statistics and facts, and I don't even disagree with them. I'm like, bro, I understand those are facts, and 100%, not 100%. Some of what you're saying is valid, but the point is, why is there a but? That's my whole thing. It's like, you're like trying to argue with me, and I'm not even arguing.
Yeah.
Like, that's not my issue. Like, why is there a but? It's like, you were saying it's not a political thing, but there's layers to it. So obviously you can bring in the Trump thing, you can bring in politics.
Like, you can bring in politics into the situation because I'm pretty sure the media is probably playing it off that way. But at
the core, it's
not.
So then when people are telling me, yeah, but what happened with Kaz, bro?
No, my bad.
Okay.
So when people are telling me, yeah, I get it, I agree, what happened to George Floyd is wrong, but I'm like, nah, there's no but. Like, just understand that, like, the shit black people go through isn't the same as what we go through. And I've heard the thing of like, yo, this happens all over the world, and I'm like, yo, for sure, but
it does,
but doesn't mean that it
doesn't mean it's okay.
Like, acceptable.
Like it's like, I put it like this, like when I see, cause I was talking to one of my buddies, and he's Cuban, and I was like, he gets it, I mean, he gets everything, just like you guys get it, but like he was like, look, if you really think about it, black people are like putting themselves out there first, being like this, yo, this shit's gotta stop. This, like, these bad cops gotta stop. I'm not saying all cops, because I'm not saying get rid of police, none of that shit like that, like all cops, but like these bad cops gotta stop. So we're literally putting ourselves out there first, being like this, yo, fuck it, we'll go out there, we'll take these videos, we'll march, we'll protest and shit like that, and we'll make our voices heard, because what that could do is the next, say like a Latino guy gets murdered by the police, and it's like a 9-minute video and the cop's in his neck, like, it'll give the Latino community, oh shit, well, we can do the same thing, we can uprise and do the same thing, and then you can do the Asian community. Or fuck it, white people, you want to fucking protest? You can protest too. It's like that shit has to stop. Like, the bad cops have to stop. And in systematic racism, people literally think that shit's not real. And I'm like, yo, it is real. Because you, like, how can I explain? Like, perfect example. I grew up in Philly, right? A lot of my life I lived in the suburbs. But my suburbs weren't like Boca. You know what I mean? Weren't like really nice suburbs. Like, I was on the other side of the tracks of the suburbs. So I was closer to West Philly than anything. So there was no one really rich on our side. Like, we had row homes. There was no single family houses and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, we were like, we grew up, we were goons. You know what I mean? We did dumbass shit. Like, we got fucked with by the cops all the time. On the other side of the tracks, it was nice. It was like really not like nice ass homes. If we walked over there and went to like a party or something like that and we're going home, we would get stopped by the cops because we don't look like we're from that neighborhood. To me, that's systematic racism. Like, you're stereotyping us because we're not from that neighborhood. You guys don't look like you're from that neighborhood. I'm like, motherfucker, I live in the same fucking town. I just live on the other side of the tracks. Like, yeah. And then I just don't think people understand that aspect about systematic racism. And it's not just that, it's the schooling. So I might have went to school in those suburbs like my entire school career, but then I lived in Southwest Philly for half my life. And then I had to lie about my address just so I could go to school because the schooling was better. It was more poverty tax, schooling was better. I could have easily went around the corner to Bartram, but I chose not to, and my mom chose me not to because you're not going to get the same after-school programs. You're not going to get the same level of schooling. You're not going to get the same textbooks and shit like that. Like, property tax is a little lower than it is out there. So the rate of kids graduating in those schools is a little lower than it is in schools with more money where they can give after school programs. They can give tutoring out. They can pay for things like that. But people don't realize that. And I think it's just because they haven't lived it. They don't know it. So I've seen it from both sides. And I'm not saying like just because you go to school in the inner city, you're not going to graduate. Like, I'm not saying that at all, because I've seen plenty of guys graduate, but you might graduate, but you might not want to do anything because crime's going to be a little higher. So you're not going to you might not have that mentality to want to go to college or try to get that big job or something like that. So crime, you're going to fight to eat. Like, dudes in inner cities fight to eat. Like, that's why crime's high. And that's when people throw that little statistic at me, like, well, 52% of homicides come from the black community. I'm like,
why?
I'm like, well, look, why? Like, go into those communities. Like, just fucking do a drive along in those communities, and you'll see why. They don't get as much shit as you're getting in. Like, our parks aren't fucking. I explained this to my wife last night. I'm like, we had a park that I think when I was like 7, it had a basketball court. Then maybe from like 7 to like 18, that same park never had a basketball court. Like, it just was the pole, right? It literally was the pole. Had a soccer field, no nets in the soccer. Like, dudes who want to play soccer, Indian guys want to play soccer, has to type their own shit up there. The baseball field where the cops and the firefighters played their summer leagues and their summer softball leagues, that shit was always upkept. But we couldn't play basketball because they took it down. Now we had to go over to the suburbs to go play basketball, like crazy, to the nice courts and shit like that. Like, and I'm like, why do you think these athletes build up these parks in these communities and like take out of their own pocket to do this shit? Because that's how you keep kids out of trouble. When you don't help out these communities, you're going to have bad things happen because kids have nothing else better to do but to get into trouble.
And it shows the kids that there's like, stuff, there's things they can do beyond, their community and in the inner city. Because I wanted to ask you too, like, you think there's, because obviously there's racism externally, but like internally within like the black community, it's like people kind of, they are on themselves are like, yo, I'm never, like, this is my life, like this is what we do.
Yeah, no, it's true. Some people do have that mentality. They're like, yo, this is what it is. Like, this is what my life is going to be like, and it's because sometimes they don't have like they don't have the tools or the things in the community to like make them think otherwise. You know what I mean? Like, this is just how they grow up. Like, if you grew up in a project your entire life, this is how you're gonna think that shit is. It's like when I first went to my wife's house for the very first time, and she used to live in Connecticut. So Connecticut's the richest fucking state in the United States. She had an island, like just an island, like in her kitchen.
Jeez.
Like, not even like a big ass house, just like.
Oh, I thought you meant an actual island.
No. You know, like,
real.
You know, like in the kitchen they had like those little islands and shit like that. Like, that was the first time I ever seen that.
You got an island
like
or a bidet.
Yeah,
like
you
doing.
I was like, yo,
bidet,
I'm like,
you're rich,
bro. When I went to Cancun the first time, I seen a bidet. I was like, yo, this shit is wild. You know what I mean?
You're like, what the fuck?
But I seen the island. I was like, yo, you guys got one of these? She was like, what? I was like, yo. She was like, are you serious? I'm like this. Yeah, all my shit's connected. Like,
one piece.
Yo, all my shit's connected. Like, all our houses on the same street. We all connected. Like, you got like a whole ass yard. Like, you got a whole yard on the side, a yard in the front, yard in the back. I just got one in the back with a little fence. Like, you making it. Like, you all eating. You know what I mean? It's just people don't realize, man. You just, when you grow up in certain type of neighborhoods, we don't get those same opportunities as everyone else. And we get more cops like they're in the neighborhood because we're stereotyped as having more crime and shit like that. And it literally comes down to like property tax. Like, if it was an even playing field, it would trust me, no one would really be complaining. Like, but it's not going to be an even playing field.
And that's why it's like people say, I don't see it's right now maybe the system isn't in place literally to get black people, but like those systems that were built in the first place, it's like a residual effect. It's like all you gotta say really is like, yo, slavery was legal like less than 100 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. Like
that's all you gotta say. Like, that was just happened.
Yo, civil rights has only been 70 years. Like, when you really like think like, so like me marrying my wife who's white, it was only legalized 50 years ago.
That's nuts.
You know what I mean? So
you know what's crazy? I saw this thing online and I fact checked it. And it said it had a picture, it had 3 pictures. It had a picture of Anne Frank, had a picture of Martin Luther King.
Oh, I saw that this morning.
And had a picture of Barbara Walters. And it said these 3 were born all in the same year. But the way the media and history books make it seem that they made like Anne Frank seemed like it was like 200 years ago. You know, like you remember reading that shit and you're like, it seemed like so long ago. But then to think that MLK was doing what he did 20 years after that, 30, you know, like, and then Barbara Walters is still alive, and obviously she's old, but these people were born in the 20s, and like, these are things that all happen in their generation. So like, that's not a long time ago.
It's not like,
like there's people still alive, you know, like it's the wildest thing that like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it goes over people's heads when they realize, oh, you know, MLK was X amount of years ago, or you know, to bring up Anne Frank, like what she was like 12 or 13, whatever, or however old she was, like this is all in their lifetime, which is not too far. So it's not that it's not current, or it's not that like people forgot. It's just like, yo, like, I mean, people did forget. I'm saying, got swept under the rug. Like, this is still a current relevant situation.
No,
like,
it's definitely really relevant. I mean, it's like you can say, like, I hate when people are like, yo, that's so right. That was so long ago, bro. Move on, move past that. I'm like, but was it though? Because I mean, like, my mom was alive when that happened. So like, but was it that long ago?
And forget if it was long ago or not long ago. It's like, oh, we gave you your freedom. Like, what else do you want?
I'm like, yo,
type of mindset.
Yeah, like nah, bro. Like, look, yes, you gave me rights, and I got rights to vote and all that stuff like that, and Jim Crow laws got banned and all that stuff like that. But like, there's still people who were from that era who still think like that, and a lot of that shit is taught and passed down. So that shit's going to continue, and I don't like. I just want people to be like more or less anti-racism. Like, just if you see it, stop it. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, just don't let that shit just like slide by the window, because it literally you're doing nothing for the process. And like, this has nothing to do with like the Black Lives Matter like organization or whatever, because I know people fucking conspiracy theories lose their mind off of that shit.
Someone sent me an article recently where they wrote an article basically. They were, I guess, like applauding Fidel when that year he died.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying it was like a Black Lives Matter article from their organization, and basically I gotta read it again, but basically kind of saying like, oh, you know, we could learn a lot from this revolution and how things happen. And then you see the comments, everyone's like, bro, what? Like, rest in peace, BLM. Like, this is terrible. How could you compare this and this? And so it's like, I didn't even know, and to be honest, I didn't even know till recently that Black Lives Matter is an actual organization.
Yeah, it's an actual organization.
I thought it was like the movement, you know, the hashtag, the let's get together.
Yeah.
So, and then I could see why people, you know, have conspiracy theories or whatever about like, yo, but who's behind this? Or people have told me like, oh, but you know, it starts like this, and then we start getting other things thrown in, and then
it's like it's like it was started when Trayvon Martin, you know, that what happened with Trayvon Martin. That's when it got started. But like, yeah, it's an organization, and yeah, I've donated to an organization. Yeah, I've seen that conspiracy where their money goes to like Democrats, which is not true. Like, literally, just Google it and read an article, because there's Black Lives Matter people from an organization says, no, we use things called like the Axe Care or Axe Right or something like that. Whatever money that goes to, Act Blue or something like that. That is just like a platform that holds the nonprofit. So it flows through there. Like, it's just like a platform that like will host your donations, but like, we're not taking your donations and giving them to Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders and all that shit like that. Like, we're not doing that. But yeah, it's an organization, but it's really became more than that. Like, it has become a movement. Like, and I think that's where people lose sight, and they try to find the fault in it when like the looting and shit goes on like this. Oh, look at these Black Lives Matter people looting and stealing and shit like that. I'm like, no, that's not. It's like not even how it is, because you guys know if we have a hurricane down there, what's the first thing motherfuckers gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? They're gonna go rob that Foot Locker and shit like that. Like, that has nothing to do with, like, those just opportunistic people who are assholes and doing shit of all different races. So it's not Black Lives Matter, and people don't understand that. And like, again, like what Kat said, it's not just saying we matter. Like, we matter too, and we felt like we're not being mattered as well, just because of recent history and just how things going on. And it goes in the same thing in the nightlife. Like, we can bring it all the way back to nightlife. Like, bro, like, I matter too when I DJ, because I've literally, you some places won't like hire you because like they like might know my name, and then when they see my Facebook or like my press kit and stuff like that, they're like, oh no, he's gonna play hip hop the entire night and all shit like that. I'm like,
that's something that I kind of wanted to get into. I was gonna ask you if you want to break it down to like situations that have happened, and like I tweet it all the time, like the backhanded compliment. Like I've gotten it a million times, and I know you've probably gotten it even more. Like people told me, you're pretty good at playing hip hop, or like you're pretty good at doing this, like some kind of like stereotypical like condescending backhanded compliment, like I said, or like or even, I mean, I'm saying not even the compliments, just straight up issues that you've dealt with and straight up no's or racism to the point. Like if you want to let us know, and I'm always in, like it's something that I've seen it through the bookers. Like I haven't seen it in San Antonio. I remember I used to see it like be like, oh, like back then the music, the genres weren't as bent as they are now, but back then it was hip hop or rap, so like I knew open format guys that were black, and like off the rip you just get stereotyped as like a rap DJ, so
you get that like off rip. Like I've gotten that many of times. Just walking, like if I walk into a place and I play there and like they see me, they're automatically going to think I'm going to play only hip hop. And it's even within my own community. Like if I'm like at a certain club and like I'm playing open formatted shit, like fucking drop Miley Cyrus or some shit like that, or your girl Britney, you know what I mean? Like I can like play whatever. Then like you'll have some like, I have black people come up to me and be like this, yo, you gonna drop some of our music now? And I'm like, yo, I am. Like I'm gonna make it real open, or I'll get on the vice versa. If I'm playing a lot of hip hop, white people come up to me like this, yo, this all you're gonna play? Like I'm like, no, like enjoy the night. Like I'm here 5 hours. Like
damn, I didn't even think about it from both sides.
You know what I mean? Like spread the night out. But as for like playing in venues, I played in a venue in Fort Lauderdale, and I don't play it anymore, and I won't play it anymore. Literally the owner was like coming to me again at night. He's like, yo, not too much hip hop. They come in here and they're kind of aggressive with the women and they might steal stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so like
he like generalizing,
like generalized the shit out of it. And he was like straight up. And he was like, yeah, not too much Latin either, because they get kind of aggressive as well.
Just throwing days out there like that.
I'm like, bro, you're Latin. Like what? Like what? So like, and I recall because I ended up staying. I started playing, and I was playing like old school hip hop, and he wasn't saying anything. He was cool with it. So I was like, whatever. I was like, fuck him, whatever. So then I think I dropped like "Nice for What" at the time, and it was probably one of the top songs at the time.
It's crossover,
and, bro. It's crossover as shit. Like that's a pop hip song to me. Like that's not hip hop. That's like a pop song. This dude came out into the DJ booth like a ninja, and was like, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, down, turn it off, switch the song. I was like, what? I'm like, they're all dancing. Like I'm like, everyone's vibing. Like this is one of the hottest songs in the country. He's like, turn it off right now. Put Journey on or something like that. And I was just like, yeah, I'm done here. I'm not playing here again. And like, I was like, I seen that and I was like, wow. I was like, yo, that's like, to me, I was just like, yo, like it's the same thing as when people like, we got said in the last podcast, the whole is getting too dark in here bullshit. Like,
yeah,
like I'm like, yo, that's the most bullshit thing to say. Like,
and I mean, I'm not even trying to like connect everything, but like, you could almost, it's like you can't deny that the stereotype in nightlife is like, oh yeah, this black crowd or this Latin crowd is less likely to spend money. They're just gonna come in here and like you said, like how he said, like, oh, they're gonna just they're gonna try to steal something or whatever generalization you can make. So it's like they almost don't want to cater to them because they think that they don't matter.
Yeah.
And it like goes all the way back to like the systematic of like, yeah, black people are in lower level community, so like we don't really need to cater to them.
Yeah, no,
we need to cater to the spenders who are predominantly white,
mm-hmm.
and then that's like literally reflects all the nightlife. But that's not the case, because we've all seen where it's like, yo,
it's definitely not
it's
the
crazy
case.
because I've you know, I always talk about like the psychology and like the flow of nightlife shit, and like, yo, more people. Okay. Let's break it down. A table is $500. One person is paying. Maybe it's either 8 people are paying or one person is paying.
Yeah.
Either or, there's still going to be 20 people at that table, and if it's $500 divided by 20, that's $25 a person, right? That's how much that's a per head spent in the bar. If you go to a bar with your boy and it's you two at the bar, you're gonna spend at least $50. That's like average 3 drinks, you know?
Yeah.
So at certain venues, your regular at the bar customer is spending more money than your 20 people holding up a table. So like the science of that, of like, oh, we want bottle services, or like this guy's not spending money at the bar, or these people thinking of that, or like pushing that kind of mindset in those kind of rooms, you know, the rooms that we're at, like bigger rooms, obviously it's a higher minimum and higher numbers, but in most of the venues that we're dealing at, like the bottle prices aren't extremely high to that point, and you have more people coming in through the door, so it's a numbers game, and that game is flawed with the audience that we work with. So whenever people kind of like say flip it on it, I'm like, look, like you have, you know, 400 GA people spending an average of $40 to $100 at the bar, and you want your white fucking old dude to spend $400 when he has 20 people at his table. Like, think about the whole rest of the venue, you know? So if you want to cater to those people, cool, but I'm here to cater to everybody.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to connect this is, I've done venues when, you know, I've had certain people tell me, you know, white people tell me, oh, all you're going to play is this, or all you're going to play is that. That's when I just kind of mind fuck them. And I'm like, yo, you are really that important that like you think that this, or I give them a breakdown of, look, man, there's everybody else in the room. So if you think I'm playing too much rap, or if you're asking me for rap with the question, like, I don't see you, I always tell people, yo, I'm here to cater to everybody. So it's always, when I've dealt with situations like that, obviously I'm not dealing with it as bad as you, or I mean, obviously I'm not, I hate the comparing thing, but this is kind of like a situation thing that I always try to address racist things in more of a numbers and business perspective, to make the owner feel like a retard, you know.
And even with the bottle service, I mean, there's a place where we used to DJ on the beach where I've seen it, where the doorman would just like look at you and like literally he would analyze you in 5 seconds and tell you, oh, we're at capacity. And like
private party,
private
party tonight,
or like
private party.
It'd be like 4 dudes or 3 dudes or 2. I even seen 2 dudes and 2 girls, and yo, they might be black, they might be Latino, and they'd be like, he would already be like, no, we're not letting anyone in, and then they'd be like, no, we want to get a bottle.
Yeah.
Oh, well, minimum is, and then he would like make up a number almost.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, yeah, okay.
And then
I remember that shit. I remember that shit, and this was the wildest thing, because I remember when my roommate was still in UM, and he would try to go to places like Louis and Set, like that were in Mokai when it was popping, like, and they would get in, because my old roommate used to be friends with all the international students, so it'd be him and like 2 Australian guys, tall, white, you know, with the accent, or European guys, yo, and he would get in with like zero problem, like to Louis, 4 guys, but it's like 3 Australian guys and him, short little Nicaraguan dude, like you know, they rather have the 3 white Aryan looking dudes in there, you know, like, and it was terrible. Like,
I've even seen
shit,
you know, because usually their thing is, oh, you don't have enough girls, or you don't have no girls. I've seen, like, you know, a lot of in South Beach, a lot of it is tourists, and you know, there's girls that go, like, they're just staying next to Mokai, they're just staying next to these clubs, so they're like, oh, let's walk over there. The doorman might not like their vibe. They might think this is not the crowd that we let in.
Yeah.
I literally have seen them like tell like a group of girls that were black and mixed and, you know, different ethnicity. Tell them like, oh no, we're at capacity, you have to wait. So they're waiting there. And then 4 blonde, blue-eyed, tall, heels, like model looking girls come in, and he just opens the thing.
Bro, it's like, you ever think about it? Like, even, like, we can get diving deeper. Like, you ever think about like dress code? Like, how systematic like dress code, like,
and that's a loophole they use.
You know what I mean? It's such a racist loophole, because let's say you go to the quote unquote urban club, right? And then you see how everyone's dressed in there, like, relax. Could be relaxed, you know what I mean? You got people dressed to the nine, but also have people relax, wearing Timbs, wearing sneaks, whatever, and like hats and shit like that. Like, but when you see a place put those restrictions up, specifically no hats, no boots, no camo, like shit like that, like, and that's like big, like no jerseys, like when that's big, and like, you know what I mean, the hip hop culture and stuff like that, like why are you stereotyping? You're pretty much saying you don't want me in your club, like.
But salmon color shorts above the knee are perfectly fine.
Completely fine. Like, so like
I'm not even kidding.
You're literally telling me that it's not okay for like me to be dressed like this to go in the club.
And the thing is, like, that whole thing,
I never understood it,
because that's almost like a moment in time where like I used to wear jerseys, like I used to wear oversized shirts, like everyone had they used to wear Hollister, used to wear the Puka thing, but then like we move on, but then like you see it, like clubs are still like, nah, no hats, no this, and it's like, bro, no one's doing that anyway.
Like stop, like, yo, like that's style now. Like, yo, I was in Arizona, it was like 3 years ago, whatever, and some like rap group I was out there with, and like we went out like during, I think it was Scottsdale, like for like Sunday brunch. And I've heard about Scottsdale Sunday brunch. I'm like, yo, I heard it's lit. Like, that's just supposed to be live out there. I want to check it out.
Right.
So I'm out there, and I'm wearing like joggers and like a camo T-shirt, but like, you know, fashionable T-shirt. Like, I can walk in Miami and get in any place like dressed like this. Like, fine. So I'm out there, and the security guard really stops me, and he's like, yeah, no camo allowed in here. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? He's like, no camo. I'm like, yo, all I have is this like hoodie with me. It's fucking 90 degrees out here. He's like this. Yeah, if you want to get in, you got to put that hoodie on and zip it all the way up. I was like, I'm like, what? Like, I was just like thrown back. I'm like, is this really still a thing? Like, this whole thing? But then I learned about how Arizona is, and I was just like, oh, okay, it makes sense now.
No, and I mean, besides, you know, Arizona and all that, it's like just nightlife inherently is like very superficial, very like, you know, on the outside of like, we want to look a certain way and we want to portray a certain thing. And I'll be honest, like, you know, it's definitely like I've gotten more like, I'm not, that vibe is just, it's not my thing, because at a certain point you're just like, yo, this club is cool, but like,
is it worth it?
I don't fuck with it.
Yeah, you know
like,
what I mean?
I'm not here to be fake and like, oh, we popping bottles and like and my boy who's a spender, but he's not really my boy, but I know he's gonna come through and spend money when I'm DJing, and like that whole shit, man, I got tired of it. And you know, I think now, especially now, a lot of people, like you said, you're not going back to certain venues. A lot of people, we were saying, that might not go chill at certain venues.
Yeah, because
might not go out, because they're just not feeling that vibe anymore. So
I was actually talking to my boy about this the other night.
I mean, I've been preaching for the last 5 years that the big room's gonna die, and if this is not it, like, if this is not the nail in the coffin to some of these venues, like, I don't know what else is, you know.
Like, if owners
real quick, I have a story. Actually, just reminded me of a story. Yo, I was in Texas in 2000. This was like 2003 or 4. And mind you, you know, this is early 2000s, so like, you know, the hip hop scene and the dress code is strict. And this is right when Jay-Z Changed Clothes had come out. So like, this is when like the button down shirt Jay-Z look was in. So when venues were like, yo, like no athletic gear, you would see the dudes with the striped button down shirts, because that was what Jay-Z made hot. Yo, I remember I was in a small ass town. This dude wasn't wearing he was wearing like a t-shirt.
Uh-huh.
And when they told him, yo, you have to wear a button down, he was like, yo, okay, you want me to wear a button down? And I guess he had money or whatever. Like, he opens his car, the back seat, he has the Burberry baby shower button down. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like the Burberry print button down. So he like puts it on. He's like, okay. He's like, I'm here to work with you. He said something like I'm here to work with your rules, or like, your rules don't affect me. Like, like throw what you want at me, you know. Like he was wearing like hard bottom shoes too, you know, like the whole club look that you kind of were forced to do to get into some of these venues.
Yeah.
But it was so wild, like back then, that the dude was like, "Yo, like I already know you fuckers are gonna give me shit, or you know, your rules for this and this and that, and like I'll fuck your rules over because you know, like I understand you're racist, but like I'm here to kind of show you that you know you can't hold us down, you know." I just reminded me of that, and I always remember that story because it's like, yo, like they try to just hold everything at the door, and for it to be like, yo, like fucking dress code. I mean, that's why I've always been, you know, like the door guy has to be smart. You know, like the dress code, like places. I love places that don't have a dress code. That if they want a certain clientele, they want like a certain, you know, like it's the music or it's this or you know it's a dress code is not gonna stop anything from happening in a venue. Just like the music is not gonna. I mean, you know, obviously the music affects, but it's not just one thing, you know.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean because I got the same thing, and it's funny you bring that up. The same thing happened to me in Vegas. Like this was when Encore first opened up, and like the EDM scene was like still popping, and I think it was like me and my wife went to go see like Afrojack or some shit like that, like at the club, and I'm wearing like again like a designer T-shirt, like jeans, like nice shoes, chilling in line, whatever. Dude's like,
it's Vegas.
He's like, yo, you can't. He's like, yo, you can't get in like that. I was like, I'm sorry, what? He's like, you can't get in like that. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not gonna go all the way back to my hotel and like change. He's like, right. I'm literally seeing like foreigners and like European dudes like in the same type outfit, nothing being said to them, and like he's like, you can't get in like that. So I literally had to go to the guest shop, grab a polo, like this $70 polo, put it on just so we can get in. And he's like, okay, yeah, now you're fine. I'm like.
And then you go in and everybody's
like,
wearing t-shirts.
Literally, everyone's wearing T-shirts, hats, and shit. I'm like, yo, you fucking kidding me? I'm like, but yeah, man, that's the type of shit that like you're gonna deal with in nightlife, and I don't think a lot of people know that. And who's ever listening now, like, these are things that you got to kind of like keep your eye open for, and like realize that the reason why Black people are so upset right now because like this shit has to like stop, like. And I'll go back to the SERP thing. Like, look, I'm not losing my shit about Aunt Jemima being like, you changing the name to Aunt Jemima. Like, I'm not losing my shit about that. But I am losing my shit about you not caring about those kids who got hung, or Breonna Taylor who got shot in her house, or, you know, you're up in arms because NASCAR wants the Confederate flag taken down. You know what I mean? Like, the Confederate flag, you lost. Like, that's a symbol of like, you're trying to like separate, like, you're trying to separate from like the United States. Like, if you want to scream like, America, 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 then why do you still want that Confederate flag?
Participation trophy.
You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't add up to me. But like, like those are the things that like we want change. Like, I'm like not lose. Like, it's weird because my wife's. It's weird because of business. Whatever. My wife's business. They're going to celebrate Juneteenth this year as a national holiday, and whatever, it's dope, you know. I mean, not many of them knew what Juneteenth was. I always knew what it was, but not many of them knew what it was. And I'm like, well, that's dope. And then you have in Philly people protecting the Columbus statue, and because people want to take down a Columbus statue, and I'm like, look, like I get why you want to take down a Columbus statue, and like. He did some really fucked up shit, you know what I mean? Like when he got over here, but like you're literally losing your mind trying to protect the statue. And I literally see people out there with like bats and shit like that, like hockey sticks and shit like that, trying to protect the statue. I'm like, yo, it's not that serious. Just to put the statue in a museum, like you're glorifying something that shouldn't be glorified. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't think people are like looking at it that way. They're just looking at it as something that's combative, and it's really not. Like, you're going to see a lot of companies change up the things they do because they might think it's like racially insensitive and stuff like that. That's not so much like, and then it'll look at like, oh shit, man, what are Black people crying about now? Like, no, look, it's not even, look, I didn't even know half these shits about these companies. Like, they're taking this stuff down. Like, they're just doing it because, like, they're being proactive. I that's the way I take it. Like, they're just being proactive. They just don't want to, you know, offend someone. And I'll bring it back to this is a analogy I give a lot of people. I'm like, well, if there's 25 people in the room and you're going to say something and you know it's going to affect 24 of those people, you know it's going to affect one person, but 24 of those people might laugh and it might be something fucked up and offensive, but you're going to say it anyway because you're going to look like, well, it's only going to affect that one person. Well, if you affect that one person, who knows what that one person does? They might call them kill themselves. They might turn into a fucking serial killer. They might, you know, lose their fucking mind. It's not worth it. Like, some shit is not worth it to even say or do. So just don't do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what a lot of people on social media aren't realizing when they say ignorant comments, because yeah, like the majority of your friends who agree with you might laugh at it and might think it's like, oh, you're just making a joke. That's funny. Yeah. What are you being sensitive about now? Well, you might affect that one person who might be sensitive or might look at it a different way, and they might lose their shit, and it might be a trickle effect of bad things that could happen. And I think people just don't realize that. And I'm not saying close your mouth and don't talk. Like, you have freedom of speech, say whatever you want, but just be conscious. Read the room, pretty much. Like, just read the room. Like, no one, like, and it's like a lot of DJs are not reading the room right now. Like, and I'm seeing a lot of like DJs of color not reading the fucking room and like agreeing with shit or like posting shit. I'm like, bro, read the room. Like, you are one of us. Like, read the room. Like, they're
like saying things like what?
Bro, I've seen literally this black DJ on Facebook just like denounce like everything about Black Lives Matter. Like, oh, these fucking clowns, he's liberal this and all this stuff like that. I'm like, bro, this has nothing to do with politics. Like, what are you not seeing? Like, read the room.
Yeah.
Like, you're working extra hard to like try to bring this down instead of like bringing your culture up. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's just, you're counterproductive of this whole thing.
And it's like, I've heard like people say a lot of these opposing arguments are literally just sprung out of denouncing Black Lives Matter. Like, they wouldn't exist if there was no Black Lives Matter.
Bro,
it's just like, yeah, it's like, just let's have this movement because we're against this. But it's like, what are you even against? Right? Like, the idea or the movement or... So, I mean, I don't know. Is this exhausting for you to explain to people and talk to your friends and family?
It's not exhausting because like I hope in the end goal like they like learn. I gave up talking on social media about this shit though. Like,
it's hard to do it on social media.
I'm just done because like, if you really wanted to know, then we're not gonna go back and forth on. You're not just going like you could. I just don't get the whole. You want to throw statistics and stuff at me, and I'm like, all right, look, that's fine. Like, I'm not saying your statistics are false, and I'm not disagreeing with them, but look at it from a human level and not like a numbers level. Like, there's two different ways of looking at things, and I think most people don't want to see that because they just, I don't know. It is frustrating though, because I had this talk with my wife. You know what I mean? Like, because I didn't think she got it. You know, because her upbringing, I didn't think she got it. And I'm not. Her parents are fucking amazing. I've talked to them about this stuff. You know what I mean? So I just didn't think that she understood that one day when we bring a child into this world, the shit that they're going to have to endure and the stuff that we're going to have to teach them. Like, I'm going to have to teach him. He's going to get it from both sides. Right. Because if you're growing up like mixed, you're going to get it from white kids. You're going to get it from black kids. Like, white kids like this, oh, well, you know, the racism and all that bullshit like that. And I'm not saying everyone, but, like, you know, you're going to have those certain kids who are going to do things like that. Or why are you different than me? Why is your skin color different than me? And you're going to have the black kids. Say you're hanging out with a lot of white kids. Oh, man, you're not black. You're too white. You're so white. You're not even black. And shit like that. Like, that shit can fuck with a kid's mental to the point where who knows what they do when they're young and when they grow up, you know what I mean, and how that fucks with their whole mental and stuff like that.
And I think a lot of people don't realize, it's because right now it's happening. It's like a moment right now that's like everyone's talking about it. We're in it, but like things like that you're worried about, like generational, like how's this gonna affect my future kid?
Yeah,
like they're gonna have to deal with the shit that I've dealt with, or like
You have to give them that like type of like, you know, strong mind and strong will. And that's why I had to like sit down and talk to my wife. Because my wife's like, she's like, I don't really notice this stuff when we're out. I'm like, well, I do, because like I'm always on high alert about it. You know what I mean? Like it's just something that's natural. Like I'm always just thinking about. And I told her, I said, you're probably going to get it when you're like not with me and you're like, you're just you and the kid, because that protective instinct is going to come in. So you might get a dirty look from a white lady or a black lady, you know, like, why is this white woman with this black child? You know what I mean? You might get that look, and then something might click in your head. Oh shit, that's fucking, yo, you asshole, that's mad ignorant. You know what I mean? And then we even said, she's like, well, what about if he's with like my parents or something like that? I'm like, yo, I told her straight up, yo, off rip, if he's like with your mom or your dad, I feel like your mom or dad might rip into whoever like says some nut ass shit. You know what I mean? Because like that's just the type of people they are, and like that's the type of person I want you to be, like protective, and I think you will be, but you won't be conscientious of it right now because it's not so noticeable, because everything is just so, you know, normal. But like when you're different in a situation, you're going to see it. You know what I mean? So
I mean, I think that's dope.
And it's not even just white and black. It's like growing up, I had like Indian friends, and like I couldn't go to their house because they'd be like this, my mom doesn't like black people, you can't come in the house. Yeah. And I'd be like, what? Like, is that real life?
But like, I mean, and that's the thing, I don't think back, especially when you're a kid, but like, you know, people aren't having these conversations like you're sitting down and having with your wife, and it's not easy.
No,
but
it's
like
uncomfortable.
you gotta do it.
You gotta do it. And like if you see your friends, and like if you're listening to this and like you're a person of color, like, and if you see your friends not getting it and you want them to get it, don't be afraid to have that conversation with them. I had to have this conversation with my boys when this whole George Floyd went down. I'm like, yo, guys, this shit is my reality. Like, this is something I'm scared of if I'm ever pulled over by the police. And I'm not saying all police are bad, because I know they're not. But there could be that one bad apple having a bad day and take a shit out on me. And I don't know, because they're all wearing a uniform, so they're all the same. White, right, black, Asian, whatever. Like, it could be a black cop that hates black people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're all wearing a uniform, so I have to all put them as the same. And not in a bad way, but like, I can't differentiate you unless, like, if I see someone wearing a fucking a hood and someone wearing a suit, I can differentiate which one's like potentially going to fuck me up, which one's going to potentially, like, you know what I mean, not do anything. If they're both wearing uniforms, they're both the same. So I don't know which one to which one is going to do what, and I have to be like on guard and like conscious of the situation.
Right. So what are some positive things that can be done right now, whether it's either, you know, organizing and, you know, coming up with a plan, or just something you would tell your friends, like, yo, like, you know, I know you can't do a lot, but you could do this, you know, I'd appreciate if you did this. Like, what's the right thing for people to do that don't know?
Just like, don't be afraid to ask. Like, don't be afraid to like reach out to like your friends who are, you know, different than you. I think that's a big thing that people are scared to do. Ask and see like what they're going through. Ask and see what their mindset is. Like, see how good their mental is. Like, that shit can like really trigger something in your own mind. You know what I mean? So like the conversation that we're having here today, like, I'm pretty sure a lot of shit is triggered in you guys' minds. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like you literally just ask them, like, why are you feeling this way? Like, why is this like this? Like, why have you felt this way? Or why were you taught like this? And then hopefully they can relay that to other people, and then other people can relay that to them. And then, you know, it's like it spreads. It's like COVID, it spreads. You know what I mean? Like
bringing it back.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It shit spreads, and it's just like, and hold each other accountable. Like, just like I'm taught to, like, if I see someone doing something fucked up, I'm just gonna try to hold them accountable, and I see them like, yo, that's just not right. Like, do the same thing. Like, even though it might be comfortable, hold them accountable. You know what I mean? And like, don't be afraid to speak up, because I feel like a lot of, and let's take nightlife. Like, I think a lot of DJs are scared to speak up because they're scared of their money. They're scared to lose money, or they're scared to piss off a venue or lose clientele. Like,
or just be labeled.
Yo, like, if you know this shit ain't right, fucking speak up, man. Like, look, I saw something earlier where a girl who was a photographer, and I guess she was speaking up about Black Lives Matter on her social media, and the people who she's supposed to like take pictures of for their wedding were like, we don't want you anymore because you're so vocal about Black Lives Matter and all the shit like that. Like, be like, all right, bye. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I don't even want to work with you then.
Like, if a venue got mad at me, and sorry, Brian, but if a venue got mad at me for like speaking up, and they'd be like, well, we don't want you no more because you're so vocal. I'm like this. All right, well then I just know how you are, and I know what your true colors are. Like,
and then in the long run, like it's not gonna benefit anyone.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's like you can get who you want, what kind of puppet that you want to be in here. It's just not gonna be me.
Yeah, and we've learned that those positions are literally just, like I said, like a puppet. You know, the hamster on the wheel. So, I mean, it is what it is. Like for those kind of places, because if they don't like you for that, the next person they're not gonna like for something else, and
it's just
I mean,
they're literally
this is the biz period.
Yeah, they're mad with themselves. That's why I look at it.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to say before we sign off here?
No, man. Yo, I love everybody. Yo, if you listen to this,
let's end it on a positive note.
Yeah. No, if you listen to this, man, trust me, I'm not fucking angry black guy. Like, yo, like I love everyone.
No, at all.
But
especially why we wanted.
Yeah,
you know,
I just want I want equality as much as the next person. You know what I mean? And like, look at the thing as look at a broader picture. Like, look, if you have any questions and you want to ask my experiences that I haven't talked about on here, feel free to, DM me or whatever. Fucking call me. 215-292-2571. Call me, bro. Like, I don't give a fuck.
I was going to say to plug your Twitter and Instagram, but okay.
281-330-004.
Call me, bro. I don't care.
They can call you. 281-330.
What is your Twitter and Instagram?
Twitter, at DJ Raphy Prior. Everything. So at DJ RAPHY PRIOR. Everything is that. Yeah, man. Like, look, I have no problem talking about this stuff, but don't expect me to be posting crazy articles and shit like that on Facebook and shit like that. Like, I'm just not gonna do it because I'm not gonna get into an argument with someone saying the same shit over and over again. Like, it's a never-ending thing. Oh, one more thing. Yo, if you're gonna sit and complain about the media, don't post a fucking article and say the media's not posting. Why is this not in the media when the link is to Fox News? You look like I just had to get that off my chest. That's just mad.
I mean, the media is a whole
proofread.
Yeah, proofread. Read what you're you're writing. But yeah. No, other than that though, man, I got nothing, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Nah, thank you, man, for
being
part of this.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it for real. Well, yo, it's M.I.A. Radio, DJ Zaya,
DJ Cass.
We out.
See y'all next week.